Scrivener has a ton of great features, so many in fact that it's easy to miss some really useful functionality. In today's video, I'm going to show you 10 of the most useful so you can get the most out of Scrivener and get your writing projects done faster, better, and with as little pain as possible. Let's dive right in. If you're new to the channel, I'm Beaulieu, and I'm a full-time fantasy and science fiction author with a dozen novels, tons of short stories, and 20 plus years of experience in the field of writing. I started a novel approach to share some of the hard-earned lessons I've learned about writing, editing, publishing, and the business of writing. If any of that sounds up your alley, be sure to subscribe, and if you find this video useful, I hope you'll like, share, and maybe even buy me a coffee on coffee.com. Link in the description below. Okay, so let's hop over to Scrivener. So this is a project I've been using for a while to show off the features. If you wanted to see how many words are in your manuscript, you can click on the manuscript and you can look way at the bottom here and see the number of words, but you may not be focused on the manuscript itself. You might be in a particular scene, and so at the bottom it's going to show just the words for the set of scrivenings that you're looking at, either one document, perhaps a set of documents. And so you can instead hover over this title right here. And so when you do, it shows the total number of words or characters if you're using characters as targets, and also the total number of words versus the target that you set for your session. So this is target for the manuscript and target for the session, and your current progress for both of them. You can find these under Project, Show Project Targets, and remember on both Mac and PC, in the menus it will show any of the keyboard shortcuts that are available. So here, for example, on the Mac, it's Shift-Command-T. It'll be a little bit different on the PC. So you can look for that and use that as well. So I can do that to bring up the same sub window that comes up and shows me my targets. So here I can see I have a manuscript target of 180,000 words. I can click on that and change it if I want to. Also, I have a session target. Now I've been using this as an example, so I have no words currently, but this shows my session progress and my session target. So I could change this as well just by clicking on that. The point here is, the little hidden feature is to just hover over the quick search. That's what this little bar is called, and I'm going to tell you why it's called quick search in just one second. But if you hover, you'll see total words versus target on the manuscript, total session words versus the session target that you've set. And way up at the top, there's a little colored bar, and so it's showing me how far along I am. So just as an example, if I get rid of a bunch of documents, I'll just send these to the trash. You can see immediately the target has changed, and I don't need to hover to see this. When I hover, it shows the words, but if I'm not hovered, it still shows that progress of the project as a whole, not the session. The second feature of Scrivener is the quick search, which I just alluded to a moment ago. If you click on this field, it will change to a search field. And so if I wanted to find something that contains this character, Rodri, Scrivener will search through your project and find the different documents that contain it and present them to you here in a list. So I can scroll up and down easily. I can click on it with a mouse. And when I do, I'm taken to that document or folder. So I'll click on this first one here. That happens to be the first document in the manuscript. My focus is still the manuscript. I can see that right here. I can also tell because on the right side it shows the full document. Now let me show another example. So if I searched for Rodri again and I went down to some other document within my project, kind of lower down, it would jump me to that location. So you can see over here, I'm now way towards the bottom at this point. Now, you can also use this if you're not looking at the manuscript. So for example, if I'm looking at Ryland's chapter, just as an example, and I come up here and I type Rodri again, and I could use that same one that I used earlier, the first chapter in my novel, click here, and it now changes my focus in this title bar to the folder that I selected, and that contains a document, so I can see that I'm focused on both, essentially, because my editor mode is currently set to the Scrivenings mode, so any sub-documents will be included. Now, one other thing you can do, let's say I'm looking for Creed, one of my characters. It'll show text as well, And so if I'm looking for a specific line, if I remember something I want to go edit or something like that, I could look through this list, hit enter, and it'll take me to that document and a specific place in that document as well. So it won't just bring me to the top of that scene, for example, it will put me in place wherever that appeared. So this quick search is just a super nice way to find things and not have to go to the binder. This is perhaps more useful if you, well, A, don't recall where things are perhaps, but also if your normal way to work is to hide the binder. So then you can just click up here whenever you need to and navigate around easily. The third hidden feature of Scrivener is this header bar, which contains the title of the documents that we're looking at. Again, if it's a single document, it will just show that. If it's a folder with subdocuments, it will show the current folder selected and the current document that you're in. So let me just go to a folder that has multiple scenes. And so in Scrivening's mode, it's going to show the folder, which is this top level empty piece right here, this empty Scrivening. Then there's a divider, which indicates we're going to another document in Scrivener. And then we have that first scene. So if I click here, we see this changes. So it shows the folder. If I go back up here, it's showing the folder colon the folder name again, because this is that folder document that corresponds to this over here, this folder. If I click in here, it will show that Scrivening. So now Rylan finds Aunt Merida in this city in the forest, and that's where I am in this Scrivening in the binder. And so if I wanted to scroll down, I could. So here's my divider between those two scenes. If I click here, it'll show I'm in that one, both in the binder, if you have it up, and in the header bar as well. That list of Scrivenings, again, if you're in the editor and the Scrivenings mode, is repeated over here, this tiny little 3 slashes. So if I click on this, it will show the different documents that are in the current Scrivening mode. So I'm looking at a folder with 2 scenes, so it shows both the folder and those 2 scenes beneath it. And I can use this as kind of a mini binder. So let me give an example where I'm looking at quite a few things. So maybe I'm looking at this character list over here. And so again, I'm looking at multiple Scrivenings. If I click on this now, I can see there's quite a few, and I can jump easily between them. So here I go to Ransom, I can go to Skylar, it'll jump there, etc., etc. So just another way to navigate through your currently selected Scrivenings in your text editor. Also in the header bar are these back and forth arrows. So this is a browser style capability where you can click and go backwards through your scenes or whatever documents you've selected, and you can go back and forward. So I can just keep clicking backwards if I want. I can click forwards to the end till there are no more to go through. You can also click and hold, and you'll see the full history of that particular window, that editor that you're in. So it remembers all the documents that you've been to, including multiple documents. So here's one example, here's another, and it remembers which documents were selected at that time. So you can click to any one of those. So let's just go here, and then you can do the same thing on the forward arrow. So I can scroll through here and get back to the full manuscript maybe. So super easy to use these features of the header bar to navigate. One more feature is this up and down arrow over on the right side here. So let me go back to this character list. So these are going to apply to the documents that are currently selected, but it will go beyond that in the binder. So if I scroll down, for example, I'll go through the different documents, the different Scrivenings that are included in this current view. And then if I keep clicking, if you look over on the left-hand side, see I'm at the bottom of this list over here of these characters. If I click one more time, I'm now outside of that, and I'm looking at another set, another node in the binder tree, in essence. Okay, and I can keep doing that if I wanted to. I could go back up as well. So yet another way to navigate. Another thing that you can do in the header bar is to right-click, and then you can look at the path where it is. So it shows it's under the manuscript and then under a folder, and that's because I'm currently focused on that scene. And this is similar to this other view over here, right? It shows the same information. But if I was lower, let me go down to some of my brainstorming. I'll go to this one, which is several levels deep. If I go here, right click and show my path, it shows 4 nodes that I went through, from plotting and brainstorming to synopsis and plotting to series synopsis to this old 10-page synopsis. So that's one way we can navigate. We can also use Go to Document. So this Go to Document is kind of a mini binder. This, again, might be more useful if you're not actually showing the binder. If your normal mode of working is to hide the binder, you could then navigate easily by going to Go to Document, Manuscript, and you can go to Subdocuments here. It will essentially show your full tree, all the nodes, and you can navigate down any of them as you please. You can also go to a collection. So any of the collections that you have set up will be displayed here. You can just pick one and it will go to that. This one doesn't have any text items in it, so let me just right click and I'll go to collection Azaria. That one has some. And so it shows all the different folders and documents as a set of scrivenings. Yet another way to navigate. And then lastly, this button is to change from single pane editor to dual pane editor. Okay, so now that I have two editors up, I'm going to talk about the fourth hidden feature, which is locking your editors. Let me take a quick note here. This one has a ruler in it. This editor, this left-hand pane, this one does not. So each of these panes, these editors, remember things about them, like the zoom level, for example, and other things. So I can come over here, for example, hit Command R and get rid of that. So they look very similar at this point. But just keep in mind that that can happen. You can have a mismatch between your editors, and that's why. It's because they're tracked separately by Scrivener. Okay, but we're talking about the locking feature. So if I right-click on this header bar, down towards the bottom, it says Lock in Place. So I'm going to lock that in place, and when I do, I see this little lock icon, and it turns gray instead of like the normal gold color of my theme. And so what this means is, let me go to, before I lock this fully, I'm going to unlock it really quick, go back here, and let's say this is a chapter that affects a number of others. Like I'm making some changes here that have some follow-on effects, some butterfly effect throughout the rest of the manuscript, and I am using this to edit the other documents, the other scenes. And so this is a good example where I might want to lock this in place. And so again, turns gray, we get that lock icon. Now, normally, if I was focused over here and making some changes, I can edit this document without a problem. It's just that when I select something in the binder, Scrivener doesn't make that change in the current editor, which is the normal course of events. It instead knows this is locked and puts it in the other editor instead. And so this is a great way to like keep one fixed and then just move around the manuscript quickly, make changes. You know, this might be an outline. This might be some changes that you wanted to make, a list of edits, and now you're going through them. There are a million reasons you could have a document that you want to keep in place as reference while you work in the other pane, and this is one great way to do it. Also note, you can lock either pane. So if I come over here, right click and lock in place, these are actually both locked at this point. I don't have a good use case for both of them being locked, but if we come over here and we do an unlock, so this is now active, and I make some changes on the right-hand side and I don't click over here, if I click on anything, it will change the left-hand side because it knows this one is locked and this one isn't. So Scrivener is being smart about how it navigates, how it helps you put things in the different editors. All right, so let me unlock here. I'm going to lock here. And then let me bring up the inspector. So the fifth hidden feature is you can lock the inspector in place as well. So let's say I'm working on these two documents, and this one does not have to be locked for this to happen. So let me just unlock this one. And then I'm going to right click and choose Lock Inspector to Editor. And so this might be a case where you always want your left-hand side to drive what's shown in your editor. So again, it's not dependent on this, but let me just put that lock back in place. In our previous use case where we have one chapter that has some follow-on, some knock-on effects on a bunch of other chapters, maybe we want to keep this in place. In fact, maybe we put a bunch of notes in there already and we're kind of ticking them off as we go, and we're jumping around the manuscript and making changes. So let me just show this. So change 1, 2, 3, 4. And so as I'm jumping around the manuscript, this is locked to this editor over here on the left-hand side. And so I can just notate that I've made the changes, essentially knocking things off my checklist as I go. And because the inspector is locked to this editor, I won't have to jump back and forth all the time. If I didn't have that, And let me just quickly click this eye, and that will get rid of that lock. So now we can see that that little eye icon is gone, and over on the other side here, this will now be driven by whichever one I've selected. So I can click over here, and I see it follows. Click over here, I see it follows that. Again, if we want to just keep that inspector in place, we can lock the inspector, that eye shows up, this turns gray, and then anything I look at in here from the comments, maybe I put in comments and I'm deleting those as I finish whatever I'm working on from this document on the left-hand side. Again, you might have any number of reasons to want to lock it in place, but you have that ability. So let me click on that eye to get rid of that again, and you can't do that with this lock. If I click it, it does nothing. You must right-click and say, get rid of lock in place, uncheck that. Now, the last thing I want to show you in this lock feature set is this lock group view mode. If you have a set of documents that you always want to view in a certain way, and when we talk about mode, we're talking about the editor, the corkboard, or the outliner. And keep in mind the editor has two ways of viewing things. You can look at it as a single document. If you click on that, and let's go to one of the single documents here, we can see it's a single page. If we go to a folder, it's grayed out because there's nothing in that document. But if I go down to my outline, for example, here, this document is a folder. It contains subdocuments, but it does have its own contents. So if I focus on that, I can either show all the scrivenings beneath it, in which case this turns brighter, or I can click it again and it will just be that single document, in which case it's kind of grayed out. It's a little bit subtle. But whichever way I'm looking at it, I can lock that into place. Let's say I was looking at a chapter with a couple of scenes. I'll click on this one. And so it changes to show those couple of scenes beneath in the editor mode. If I lock this here and I say lock group view mode, I click on that. Now see that this little icon, it's kind of hard to see, but it changes from a couple of pages to a couple of pages with a lock icon on it, superimposed. The editors will remember what mode they're in, generally speaking. So let me go to a single pane mode here. And let's say I went somewhere else and I was looking at the outliner view, for example. If I come here, go to outliner, and then I can see all of my different scenes. If I click anywhere else in here, it will just continue to show the outline mode. But if I've locked something as a view of the scenes themselves, the text editor mode, it will switch back to that because it has that lock in place. So let me come back here. This was the scene I had. I'll click and it switches because I've locked it. And again, you can see that if you get a little bit confused, you can look up here and see if it's locked in place. Let me try unlocking this, and I'm going to switch it to a different view. So I'm going to unlock that. I'm going to go to the corkboard view instead, and I'm going to lock this mode, this group view mode. So I'll click here, and now we see that lock has moved to the outliner. And so if I come here and I'm in text edit mode normally, I'm going around making different edits, and I come back here to that same one, it will switch me to the corkboard view. Again, a bunch of different scenarios where you might want to use this. You might be changing how things act between the binder versus other things like brainstorming, character generation, notes, world building, that sort of thing. You might want a certain view for those items that will generally always be the same, and you just want to flip to it without having to click there and then choose the mode. So you can lock that in that case. The sixth hidden feature of Scrivener is the reveal in binder. So you might have seen this as I was working through the other items, but the top level one is reveal in binder. Let's say I'm looking through this area here, and I'm not really sure where this document is. I can right click, say reveal in binder, and it will just move the focus of the binder to that area. If I don't have the binder up, let me just hide that quickly, and I do the same operation. It will open it and again, focus on wherever it is in the binder. Now, this may not seem super useful, but it turns out to be pretty helpful when you're searching for things and you get a little bit lost on where you are. So let's say, for example, I'm looking for Lorelei, and there's a ton of things that come up. And when you select something from a search like this, you click, it keeps those search results up. And so you might be working on something over in your editors, and you don't actually have the normal binder view at this point. So I can, of course, click over here if I want, but there may just be times where you've navigated to a certain document and you just can't recall where it is and you want to quickly find it, and you can do that by just doing the right-click Reveal in Binder. Another reason it may be useful is if you have your collections up. Let me go to Azaria, for example. Same deal, like if I click here, I don't actually see the binder at this point. So let me go to this one, and I'll be working on it for a while, and I just want to see where it is in the binder. So just right click, it'll get rid of that search results and then put me in focus wherever it shows up in the binder. Since we're talking about searches a little bit, the 7th hidden feature is to save searches, any search, as a collection. In my previous videos, the main example I gave for collections was to use labels to track characters, POV characters. Labels could be used for other purposes, whatever you use them for. You might build a number of different collections based on labels, but you're not restricted to that. Saved searches can be anything. You can save search as a collection. So one example is I'll often have a set of characters that aren't main characters, and maybe I want to change something about their relationship. I have 2 characters, Drummond and Isolde, who in the beginning I had no idea might have a romantic interest in one another. So as that developed, I realized the early scenes needed work. And so I could do something like Isolde and Drummond in the project search. Now notice this comes up with nothing. And that's because my scope is not set correctly. So if I click on this little icon right here, that'll bring up this submenu, and I can change this to the title, the text, what have you. But what I care about right now is all words. So all words in any place inside of any given document. So I'll click on that. And so now it gets a number of them. And so maybe I don't want to keep searching this up over and over again. And if that's the case, I can just click here, come down, and do Save Search as Collection. And so I'll just call it Isolde Drummond, just keep that, and say OK. So now that appears in my list, and so if I'm running around doing all kinds of other things and I realize, oh, I need one more change that kind of applies to a number of scenes where Isolde and Drummond show up, I can just come back here, click it, and here they are. And then I can click any one of them. So that search kind of replaces the binder temporarily. We can always get rid of it, of course. And we can click on any one of these. If we wanted to get all of them, we can click and shift click to get all of them over there. We could also use this little icon right here. So this is show the contents of the current list in the current editor. So I can just click and it'll put all of them over there in one fell swoop. The 8th hidden feature of Scrivener is to customize the toolbar. This is such a useful thing, but you may want to change what's there. First of all, we can change this to icon and text if we want to. So it'll show what each of them does instead of just the icon. I tend to value my vertical real estate quite a bit, and so this is kind of a toggle. It's either icon and text or icon only, so I can click that and get rid of those. I can also, if you want kind of a subdued interface, use monochrome icons, so it'll change all these to black and white. Get rid of that. And then I can change what's here. So I'm going to customize the toolbar. So here I can put anything I want, all of these different functions into the toolbar. And notice now, these are kind of wavering back and forth. All of them are. So this is editable at this point. And so if I wanted to add comments as easily accessible, I can just click and drag and move it up there. If I wanted statistics, for example, I can click and put that here or move it over and put it there. It kind of locks in place. Any of these functions can be added, and there are also 2 different ways to space these. So there are these flexible spaces that are already in place, and you can remove them. So I can just click and drag that off and it goes away. I can click and drag a flexible space between icons. And essentially the flexible space takes whatever space is left after the window has been resized and the fixed icons have been put in place, and then distributes it evenly between all flexible spaces. So they're all going to be even once this is displayed. So let me just say done for a moment here. So those go away, everything turns like solid, and your toolbar has been changed. But let me come back and show you one more thing. You can also add fixed spaces. So if I move this up here between these couple, it makes it like an icon's worth of space on the toolbar. And you can add more than one if you want. And you can just keep doing that. You can change these however you'd like, move the spacing over here, what have you. So I may make a ton of changes and realize, oh, I don't really like how this is set up. I want to start over again. And you can do that too. I'll just right click, go back to Customize Toolbar. When I first saw this thing at the bottom, I thought that was where I was supposed to drag things, but that isn't. You're dragging it up to the toolbar here to change it. If you want to go back, you drag this thing up to the top. So I'm going to drag it up here, and it puts it back to the default. And then I can say done. So here I am with the default toolbar Scrivener came with. Now, as we're editing, some of these are pull downs. Let me give you an example of the focus. Let me put this up here, and then I'm going to put the ruler as well. So I'll just put those two there. I'll say done. So the ruler and any of these where you don't use them very often and you can't remember where they are in the menuing system, I run into this all the time. Like when I first started using Scrivener, I wanted to get rid of the ruler and bring back the formatting, and I couldn't remember where they are in here. If I go under View and Editor Layout, I thought it was supposed to be there, and then I couldn't find it. I would look down here in these other options. I would come to Window, Format. I couldn't find it, and it took me forever to remember that it was under Text Editing. So I can see the Format bar and the ruler in here. So anything where you use it like once in a blue moon, so it is useful, but you don't use it often enough to remember where the menu item is or the keyboard shortcut, one of the two, just pop it up here. And so I can just click on that, and then it comes, it shows the ruler or gets rid of it, whatever the case may be. This focus is pretty nice. It's kind of built into the full screen mode, but you can use it on regular editors as well. And what this does is it allows you to have a focus. And when you have a focus, let me do the line. Scrivener will highlight the current line. And if I just arrow down, go through the document, it shows that line changing, and everything else is kind of grayed out. So it, in theory, helps you focus on a particular edit or changes that you're making to your documents. If I go to sentence, it will change to the current sentence, even if on the same line that changes, or if the sentence spans multiple lines. Okay, so that'll just follow sentence focus. And then I can go to paragraph as well. So as I scroll up, it will highlight the current paragraph. And then if I just single click on here, it will just get rid of the focus. Or I can also just focus off, for example. The point is not focus. The point is you should, or you can, add all the useful things for you to that toolbar to make your life easier in Scrivener, and you should. It's super easy to do. One last thing on the toolbar. If I right click here, it has Center Quick Search. And the quick search is meant to be something that can help you, again, navigate super easily. And so the default operation is to keep that centered in your window. But you don't have to have it that way. I can uncheck this. And then if I go back into my Customize, and maybe I get rid of some of these on that side. And we can see that quick search is shifting over to the left. And so I can say done, and now it's in its new location. So you have flexibility, but if you like that there, which I certainly do, you can just go back to Center Quick Search. And then I'll just space it as you've dictated in the toolbar while keeping that quick search in the middle. Okay, so I mentioned statistics a little bit ago, and that is the 9th hidden feature. Scrivener can generate statistics for your project. So if I click here, I can also get to it under Project Statistics. And of course, it has a keyboard shortcut as well. Let me just click here. And so what it's going to show, and you can probably see the pinwheel here, and you can also see at the bottom left here, it will have this little circle icon to say it's thinking. It's working through that. And you can choose either accurate, slower, or estimate, faster. I tend to keep it accurate because it doesn't take too long for my projects. You saw that it took a few seconds, but that's not a big deal for me. And so we can see things like for the compiled documents, the words, characters, no spaces, and again, words versus characters might be different for authors working in the US, North America versus Europe, where characters might be more common. But it gives you these stats about your project, including the number of documents, the average document length. Maybe more interesting is the number of pages. It is estimating this based on something I'll show you in the options, and the pages printed. So paperback versus printed, approximate reading time, etc. This selected documents is whatever you have selected currently. So right now I don't have much selected. Let me just say okay here real quick, and I'm going to go just select these first 4. And then I'll go back into statistics. We can see it's thinking again. Okay, and now that it's done, we see 13,000 and change words, which is a match for down here, this 13,084, same number, because that's what I have selected. That's what I'm currently viewing, and the text editor shows the number of words in the selection set. But we get a lot more information here as well. So it does the same set of stats, just for the selected documents instead. Now, let me go to options. So there are different options. This top level one gets into the weeds quite a bit. It has to do with what you have selected for the current compile group. The most common case for stats is going to be the full manuscript, and so I don't want to get too lost in this now because it does get into the weeds quite a bit. For now, just keep this unchecked, this count current compile group only, and then make sure that what you're compiling is the full manuscript. So I'm just going to say OK here for now. I'll go to compile. Let me go back to the full manuscript, and maybe I have some things that are unchecked in my compile. So one quick way to make sure everything is selected is you can use the Option key. If I do that, if I click here, once it will select everything. If I click it again, and I think this is Alt on the PC, it will alternate between selecting everything and deselecting everything. So let's say, for example, I only had a few things selected in the beginning. I was just compiling the early part of my project. Just come in and compile and make sure it's all selected. So I'm just going to Option click. Again, PC, I think it's Alt click, and we can see now that it's all selected. And this persists. This is persistent data, so I don't need to actually compile it. I can just hit cancel. And then if I go back to my stats, we can see it's thinking again. And then once it's done, I can go to compiled, and it has my full document at this point, instead of that subset it had earlier. So stats are an interesting way to look at your project, and there may be value here. I mentioned that the paperback can be modified. So let me click here. You can go to one paperback page is a certain number of words or a certain number of characters. So that is modifiable. And then there are other options like counting the footnotes, excluding comments and annotations, footnotes, count subdocuments. This one also I would generally keep to count all documents. This is the selection stats option. So this applies to the selected documents, whereas these apply to this compiled documents here. So we can do count all, count only those documents marked for inclusion in the compile, count only documents not marked for inclusion. So the most common case by far is going to be count all documents. You can use those other ones if you have a specific need for it, but generally just keep this as count all documents. And that leads me to the 10th and final feature, which is the set of words, the word frequency. So it's kind of part of the stats. It generates when you run those statistics, but you can use this to look at the number of occurrences of certain words inside of your projects. So as I look at these, and I wish I could resize this, I'm not able to, and I don't believe I can export these in any way. But if I look at these, there's, of course, the most common the, and, to, But what this could allow you to do is to look for words that you overuse. What you can do is sort by count and then scroll past the ones that are going to be common in any manuscript and look for ones that show up a little bit too often, or at least give you something to look at in your manuscript. And this is going to be past the hundreds of occurrences. There'll be common names of characters and other words that really just make no difference. But there are some words that maybe you're trying to avoid, like looked, for example. And that may cue me into a need to go through the manuscript and change some of that stuff. Now, it is kind of a pain to scroll through all this stuff, and so what Scrivener has as well is a list of words to ignore. So if I click here, I can put in the, and, then, and you can build this over time, and you can do it iteratively. And so I can say OK, and then I can go back to my compiled list. We can see it's thinking again, and now up at the top, those words are gone. And so I can just get rid of the ones that I really will never care about and just focus on and get quickly to the ones that I do care about and just scroll through there and see if that makes me want to make any changes to my manuscript. It's not going to be a hard and fast rule or anything, but this is just one more tool in your arsenal to make a solid, deliverable manuscript. I hope those 10 somewhat hidden Scrivener features prove useful in your writing projects. If so, I hope you'll like and share with your Scrivener pals and writing groups especially. That helps to grow the channel a lot. I have a ton of videos I hope to tackle soon, including a deep dive into Scrivener's metadata features, a detailed breakdown of scene structure using some of my own writing, some published writing as examples, and more. So hit subscribe to be notified when those come out. I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, dream big, stay positive, and keep writing. Peace, everyone.